I'm online looking. Of course, there's a lot of scammers. People who claim they're in Ireland and they have an apartment. So I went through all that.
So I'll find that I go to a place and you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna go see this apartment. You get there, it's molding.
Yeah.
Welcome back to African Lives Abroad. I'm your host Fadzi and
I'm Kate Nylander.
It's good to have you for another episode. Today we are discussing settling in as a foreigner abroad. And that's always quite something.
Oof. Story of my life. Where do you even start? Like, for me, I think the most challenging part was finding accommodation.
Ooh, girl.
So I was in this situation where initially at first I had accommodation.
Yeah.
Then something happened and I had
As it does abroad, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm still fresh off the boat. I don't know anyone. And this is Sweden where it's very hard to get accommodation. People queue. As I sit here, since now I'm a Swedish citizen, well, if I went back to Sweden, I'm in a queue.
For an apartment?
For an apartment.
Get out of here.
Which my child can be on.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And so I remember then I was in law queue. I didn't know about the queuing system. I'm online looking. Of course, there's a lot of scammers. People who claim they're in Ireland and they have an apartment. So I went through all that.
They're in Ireland, but they have an apartment in Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you, every country has its own madmen.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you're in a developed country doesn't mean that
I'm telling you, you'll still find these things.
Yeah, so it was so bad, and I remember it was winter, so it was so cold. You should never not have accommodation in winter.
Girl.
So anyway, I had a car, so I slept in a car actually one night. I blessed the person who helped me find a room in the ghetto. And let me tell you, when you talk about the place I was going to live in, it's called Biskop's Garden. Yeah. It's the heart of the ghetto. You know, there's ghetto and there's also the heart of the ghetto. Where, and when I talk about ghetto, people who know ghettos in Europe look like,
because if you say, a ghetto in Europe, we're like, yeah, whatever. I mean, seriously.
But it does look like it's different because also everyone there was looking like me or 2 shades lighter, not the usual blonde.
This is maybe probably where more of the immigrants are kind of.
Immigrants, refugees. People move abroad for different reasons.
Absolutely.
So I was staying in a closet, something very small, this size. Sleeping on a baby mattress.
Whoa. The one you have to pump with the
no, that was a baby mattress, but then I got a pump so that I could, the pumping one I'd put beneath and sleep on the baby
and then
mattress.
You gave yourself a little bit of a cushioning.
And I was good. I used to work for one of the leading automotive companies in the world. Yeah. You should have seen me working. I didn't even look like my problems.
That's the thing. The ability as an African to look like absolutely nothing you're going through. People get shocked sometimes when I say, oh, at this time I was having these problems. I'm like, oh my God, you were looking so good. Like, did you want me to step outside looking like what I was going through? I would never leave the house.
But to be honest, it's not like I had problems. I just didn't have a house.
Exactly. Right?
I have money, but where is the house? I need 10 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have stories quite like that.
Yeah.
I can safely say that I've been very blessed accommodation wise. And I was also kind of groomed into the whole living alone and finding a place because I was living off campus even when I was in university, so I already had the idea of what works for me and what doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
What I found as an issue in particular here in China and in Shanghai in general is just the quality of the apartments. Yeah. Right? Because prices are really high, the value is not there. You're missing a lot of things. Say if you're in another country paying the same amount of money, there will be much more that comes with that apartment, and also just like the level of cleanliness. I get it. As Africans, our standard of cleanliness is really, it's a lot higher than a lot of people I found, because we're just groomed that way to be very meticulous. So I would find that I go to a place and you know, you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna go see this apartment. You get there, it's molding. You brought me to a place that has mold on the walls, like mold in the fridge. Things are just not together, or like, oh, girl.
But I feel like our current location, people need. We have trauma stories as experts.
I'm telling you, like, and being an expert is not an easy thing. So just,
especially
exactly. So just really, those experiences where you're like, okay, I maybe the apartment could be great, but I can't see past the dirt, you know, and the condition of the place, and so having to work with that it's been quite challenging. But at least after, you know, being here for some time, now I have an understanding of what works for me and what doesn't. So my current place is something that I actually absolutely adore. So yeah. And how has it been in terms of, because you know, for some people they move to a country to look for a job, other people move because they have a job. What's been your experience in terms of, you know, finding a job abroad?
For me, I was very lucky because things just aligned. I arrived in Sweden. I got a job in this big company, but just because I was lucky which we will take on another episode. Finding a job is one story. Now, integrating into that job is a whole new episode. That said, I do know that other Africans, even around me, would really struggle to find jobs. And I remember actually when I landed fresh off the boat looking for Kenya, someone told me, "Should probably study nursing. That's the easier one to find a job here." I was like,
wow. Yeah.
It's not my calling.
Yeah.
I can't be a nurse, I can't be a teacher. But one thing I learned just watching other people is start with what you find. Even if you have to clean toilets, you clean toilets.
Yeah. Start with what you can. I've been also very fortunate that I've moved for the job as opposed to having to go to a place and then finding the job in the place. So I can't really speak much to on a personal level about, you know, the struggles of finding a job abroad, but I have friends and, you know, and family who've had that experience of moving first before the job, and it can be quite challenging to find a job, you know. And I'm sure part of our audience will let us know in the comments a little later.
Tell us your
stories with finding jobs, and hey, it can be a struggle sometimes.
It's already a struggle not knowing someone. You know, especially China, I've had this thing called guangxi.
Guangxi,
it means trust.
It means relationship.
Yeah. Which leads to
connection.
Trust, I guess.
Exactly. So, and some places operate like that. And, you know,
some places is Africa as well.
Exactly. And in fact, I think almost everywhere where it's that you get somewhere because you know someone, and sometimes, and this is a whole episode we can move into at a different time, because sometimes I think maybe that's just the way that life is in a lot of cases. And then just your day-to-day practical things of living in a new country, you know. We'll do a whole episode on language barrier, but what's been your experience of just your day-to-day life? Have you had any challenges in that in any way? Whether it was like, you know, in Sweden or here in Shanghai.
Actually, for me, Sweden, I think I've told you this before, and most people around me know that it's like I was living in a trance. So I went through a lot.
She was having an out-of-body experience most of the time.
So
which is it actually? I would love for us to delve into that topic, you know, a little later. It's a new relationship, you know, when our connection with our nation is in place, you know, as we open up more.
Talk to us.
Right?
Yeah. So it was Sweden was because of it was extreme weather, extreme cultural differences in terms of how people communicate, operate. So I never had time to know what's hard or what's like. I was like, I need to live. I need to survive. If I take a minute to know what I'm going through, I'm gonna crash.
Yeah.
And I will not be able to go on. Now, China. I've had time to, China, at least I had time to unpack, first of all, when I moved here, and I know what I went through in Sweden. But with China, what's been difficult is sometimes I have to walk like 3 kilometers or 5. I walk 5 kilometers here if I cannot take a tram. Not a, what do you call it? Subway here. Because I don't want to take a Didi. A Didi is like the Uber of China. And if I cannot communicate with the other person, and I'm not at the right location, they just start screaming. And I'm like,
so the language barrier makes you
it makes it difficult.
Transport yourself from place to place differently. I'm also a person, I'm into entrepreneurship, networking, and I like networking. I like entrepreneurship in tech. So you can only meet these people in networking activities. Yes.
Unfortunately, right now, because people have left, expats have
expats left during the pandemic.
Most events are for locals. So when you go there, I'm sure those people have brilliant ideas, but because of language barrier, again,
you're not quite sure what's happening.
I've not been able to.
And that's the thing, though, about living in particular countries abroad, and we'll explore that even more. That, you know, outside, China operates in Chinese. Other countries outside operate largely in English. You know, so, and it's not right or wrong, it's just the way that it is. And so you find that language barrier here, it plays a really big role. And even in the practical day-to-day lives, because having to go to the store and buy a fruit, or, you know, walking around and asking for directions if you're lost and you don't know where you are, you know, those things. Also, because even particular apps on the phone, you would download the app, and as soon as it notices that you're in China, it gives you the Chinese version of the app. And I'm thinking, but I need it to be in a different version so I can understand it. So it's very difficult. I've learned Chinese, so my life is very comfortable in terms of moving around. But prior to that, I had so many difficulties ordering the wrong food. You know, I did that so many times. So I would have to get into a restaurant, and I'll just point, like, I'll just see what other people are eating. I'll be like, whatever they're having, I'll have that. Because I couldn't read the menu. In being in a store, trying to buy shampoo, conditioner, detangler, So, okay, the brand is there. You can see it's L'Oreal, but I can't read whether this is shampoo or conditioner or what have you. So it's been really like a challenge to settle in the beginning, because it's just so different. And thank goodness for my Chinese friends or my expert friends who have Chinese, you know, partners who helped me a lot in the beginning, like literally take me to the store and be like, okay,
order
darling,
things for you.
This is what you need, or order things for me, or write it down for me and say, just go and show this, that this is what you're looking for. So it's definitely been a journey trying to settle into a foreign country. So we would love to hear from you.
What are your stories? Like, hit us up on the comment section, sound off.
Tell us what you've experienced settling in, especially the funny ones. We want to know. Oh my God. And definitely subscribe to the channel, please. We want to grow as a community, so let your friends who've got their friends know about what's happening over here at African Lives Abroad.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well.
See you next time.